You can spend hours watching YouTube videos and reading forums as a new rider. There's no shortage of advice out there. Some of it helpful, some of it not so much. You'll hear things like you have to flat foot your bike, or always stand when off-road, or buy the biggest, baddest adventure machine you can afford. Some of it sounds confident, some of it sounds like gospel. But out in the real world, most of it falls apart as soon as your tires hit the dirt. Today we're gonna bust some of the biggest beginner riding myths and replace them with advice that actually works. I'm Matt, you're watching TSMoto Adventures, and this is 7 beginner adventure riding myths busted. This one drives me crazy. People will tell you that if you can't flat foot both sides, the bike is too tall for you, that you'll drop it, that it's dangerous. It's a myth. You don't need to flat foot anything. What you do need is balance, technique, and confidence. I've spent a ton of time riding tall bikes. My DRZ400 is no short machine, and I've learned how to get comfortable on it by building skill, not lowering the bike or my expectations. You can be a short rider and still handle a tall bike just fine. It's all about shifting slightly to one side at stops, getting used to the weight, and trusting your body's ability to handle those little wobbly moments. Honestly, you're more stable putting one foot down than tiptoeing both sides anyway. Tall bikes open up a world of possibilities once you stop being afraid of them. Flat footing is optional. Confidence is not. There's this weird pressure in the adventure riding world to look the part. Knobby tires, crash bars, bags big enough to live out of for 6 months. Tires especially get way overhyped. New riders think if they just throw on aggressive knobbies, they'll magically have better traction off-road. But here's the truth. Most of the time, it's not the tire, it's your technique. A 50-50 tire on a well-handled bike is more capable than a fully knobby tire and a rider who's panicking every other time they hit gravel. You need to learn how to stay loose, manage throttle and body position, and feel traction before worrying about tread patterns. Also, if you're riding mostly pavement with the occasional dirt road, those knobbies wear out super fast and get really noisy at higher speeds. Save the aggressive rubber for when you actually know how to use it. Your skill matters more than your tire. This myth sounds like it came from a motocross race in 1986 and never left. You'll hear, sit way back, get your weight over the rear tire. That's how you ride off-road. But that only works in very specific situations. If you sit back, your front tire gets light. It walks around more on you, and you end up with way worse handling and a lot of common terrain. The real key to riding off-road is dynamic movement. When you ride terrain that's more sketchy than what you're used to, you want to be standing, knees slightly bent, elbows out, let the bike move and float under you. Then shift your weight forward and back depending on what you're riding through, not just back all the time. When I finally broke this habit, everything clicked. Hills, rocks, gravel, sketchy sections, they all got easier because I stopped fighting the bike and started working with it. Get centered, get loose, let the bike move. The marketing machine really pushed this one hard. Bigger engines, more power, fancier tech. That must mean you're more of an adventure rider, right? Not even close. In reality, most new riders are better off on smaller, lighter bikes that they can pick up, maneuver, and control when things get messy. Heavy bikes are great on highways, but take them off-road and they become a big workout. I've watched plenty of folks get discouraged because they started on something like a 1250 GS, dropped it 5 times in a day, and left the trail wondering if adventure riding was even for them. It is. It's just that their bike made it harder than it needed to be. Adventure isn't about the bike. It's about where it can take you and whether or not you want to keep riding it. Pick something manageable and let your skills lead the adventure. This one cracks me up because I've been riding my KLX230S for a while now. And let me tell you, I haven't outgrown anything. That bike is small, light, and stupid fun. I can ride the wheels off of it, toss it around on tight trails, and when I drop it, No big deal. It's easy to pick up and just keep going. Does it have a ton of power? No way. But it's helped me push my limits and get better without feeling overwhelmed. The idea that you'll outgrow a bike assumes riding is just about speed or engine size. It's not. It's about control, confidence, and connection with the bike. Start small, learn fast, and have fun. That's what keeps you riding, not how many cc's are under you. Standing up is a key off-road skill, no doubt. It lowers your center of gravity, gives the bike freedom to move, and helps you absorb bumps with your legs. But that doesn't mean you should stand all the time. In slow-speed technical stuff, sitting can give you better control sometimes. When you're tired or navigating tricky terrain with your feet down, sitting is safer. Sometimes you'll even want to switch constantly between the two depending on what you're dealing with. The trick is knowing when to stand, not just assuming you always should. I've ridden with people who try to stand the entire ride and just wore themselves out. There's no medal for standing the most. Stand when it helps, sit when it makes sense, use both tools. That's how you get better. The perfect myth. So many riders think that if they drop the bike, it's proof they suck, that they picked the wrong bike, or that they're just not cut out for this. I used to stress every time I tipped over. Then I realized every rider drops their bike, every single one. What matters is how you handle it. Do you learn from it? Do you get back up? Do you laugh and keep going? Dropping the bike isn't failure. It's just part of the learning process. The moment you stop worrying about drops, you'll ride better because you're not tensed up trying to be perfect. You're just out there riding. Trust me. Drop it, laugh, pick it up, move on. You're doing fine. So what's the myth you believed when you started riding? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to build a full-on wall of busted beginner myths. And if you're into real talk about what actually works in adventure riding, hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more coming. Remember to ride safe, and as always, it's all about the adventure.